Today on Northern Revolutions, I'm going to talk about how many copies of an album do I really need? So stay tuned. Hey everybody, welcome to Northern Revolutions. I'm Rob. Welcome back if you're returning. Welcome if you're new. Today I'm doing a response to a video that was done by Jeff over at Mega Jeff's Rock Hard Vinyl. He did a video called How Many Copies of an Album Do I Need? And I thought that was intriguing because there's a few albums that I have multiple copies of. And to Jeff's point, I agree. It's not just how many copies do you own? It's, why do you have multiple copies? What's different about them? How many different versions of an album do you need? So I'm going to do that today because I've got a handful of albums where I've got multiples, and I have a couple that I have an obscene amount of. In the intro, I showed Sgt. Pepper. I think I have 14 different copies of Sgt. Pepper. So I'm going to walk through a couple albums today, why I have so many of them, and let's talk about it. Okay, so Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. I've mentioned before, I think it's the greatest album of all time by the greatest band of all time. I'm a bit of a Beatles completist. I have a pretty extensive Beatles collection. So it stands to reason that because there's a bunch of different versions of Sgt. Pepper, that of course I would own them. So what I'm going to start with first are these two. Look very, very similar. Obviously this one is stereo. You can see the yellow stereo band at the top, and this one is mono. And what these are original Canadian first pressings from 1967 when the album came out. Canadian pressings because that's where I live. And the first thing I collected was first pressings of the Beatles Canadian catalog. So why do I have mono and stereo? Well, for the Canadian catalog, and ultimately I'm going to do it for the UK catalog, but that's a project that's in the works. I have all the mono and I have all the stereo. And without getting into a long discussion about why, they're vastly different mixes. The Beatles were involved in the mono mixes. They were not involved in the stereo mixes of a lot of their albums. And generally, for most of the Beatles albums, the mono mix is far superior. So I have a first pressing Canadian mono and stereo for their, I'm going to call it sentimental collectability. And the reason I have mono and stereo is because they sound a lot different. The next copy that I have is a UK mono first pressing. If it was stereo, it would have the yellow band that says stereo across the top, but this is an original from 1967. It's, got the fold over Garrett and Lofthouse sleeve. It's the yellow Parlophone label. I have this because I'm working on acquiring first pressings of all the Beatles albums. Eventually I'll do them in mono and stereo. I've just got mono right now. And I want to do that because I like first pressings, number one, because that's how they were released, the day that an album came out. And I like the UK catalog because that's what I grew up on in CD form. In North America, the catalog was vastly different. So these were the way the albums were intended to be by the Beatles. So obviously it stands to reason I have to have a first pressing from their country, how they intended the album to be. The next copy I've got is this rather ordinary looking stereo pressing. Now, This is a Capitol Records of Canada pressing from the mid 70s. Sometime, I'd have to look up the year, but I think it's like 73 or 76. And what's interesting about this is it's on, I guess we call it marble vinyl. That's the only reason I have this. The next one I've got is a Mobile Fidelity Sound Labs original master recording. These were done in the mid 80s, I think, or late 80s. I'm not exactly sure. What do I say about these? Mobile Fidelity, despite the controversy that's going on right now, I'm not even going to wade into those waters. We're sort of generally regarded for a long time as sort of being the best sound quality out there. I'm not an audiophile, so I don't know that I could agree or disagree, but I got this because, you know, the Mobile Fidelity Beatles ones are kind of sought after. I got it at a great price. It's absolutely mint. Next, this is my playing copy. This is the one that gets all the mileage and suitably so. This is the 2014 mono remaster. Hard to find, expensive. Came in the box set, or you could buy them individually. I bought all the mono masters individually. I love this. It sounds incredible. All of the mono remasters of the Beatles were remastered from the original analog tapes using a completely analog signal path. There was no digitization, so they're genuinely regarded as being superior. And I love it. It's the version I play all the time. The next one I have is, I think these came out in 2017. This is the 50th anniversary Giles Martin remaster remix. This is the double LP version. Nowhere on here does it say it. It said it on the hype sticker, but it doesn't say it on the packaging. One disc is the album itself with the new Giles Martin stereo mix. The other disc is studio outtakes and demos. Obviously, I have this because it's a different mix, but more importantly, because it has new stuff. It's got an extra disc of, you know, previously unreleased outtakes and demos, which I think are pretty interesting, especially in the case of this album, because the songs in here were so revolutionary that it was quite interesting to hear the evolution from demo to finished form. So the 2 LP version of the Giles Martin remix. I also have, this is the Giles Martin remix as well. This is the picture disc version. Self-explanatory. It's the picture disc. Then I have this big granddaddy. This is the 50th anniversary Super Deluxe box set. I know it looks like vinyl. It's not. It is 4 audio CDs and a Blu-ray and a DVD. It's the Giles Martin remix, the original mono mix, a couple discs of studio demos and outtakes, and then a Blu-ray and a DVD. Reason I have this, obviously, I like Beatles box sets, and there's extra stuff. I mean, anytime there's extra stuff, that's a compelling case for me to pick it up. And then the last one, not vinyl, it's CD. This is the 2012 stereo remaster. I don't have the stereo remasters on vinyl. I held off for the mono, with the exception of the last 3 albums, which were only available in stereo. But I did pick up the stereo box set. So, you know, it's a nice compliment to the mono remaster on vinyl that I have the stereo remaster on CD. So that makes 10 copies of Sgt. Pepper. Is it a little excessive? Yep. But because I'm a hardcore Beatles collector, it makes sense. They're all different for a reason. There's only a couple that I listen to regularly. Most of them I just have for collectability. So, Sgt. Pepper. I'm going to do one more from the Beatles because I can't talk about this topic without talking about the obscene amount of White Albums I have. So here we go. First up, we have my original Canadian first pressing. This was my dad's he bought it the day it came out in 1968. Sam the Record Man in Toronto. I don't believe the Canadian first pressings were numbered. I think that was a US thing. Although I did read that Capital of Canada did import some numbered jackets from America. I'm not sure. I'd have to do a little more research on that. But my Canadian first pressing. The next one I have is an American first pressing. This is numbered. This is 2,284,425. Not a low number by any means. It's kind of beat up, but that's okay. It's a numbered first pressing. So the only difference is this is American. The other one I showed is Canadian. This is numbered. So it's the same record. Came from the same master. It's just from a collectability standpoint, this one's just slightly different. The next one I have is a pressing from 1976. I believe it's a Canadian pressing. You can tell the 70s pressing that have the gray lettering as opposed to the embossed. I guess it was cheaper and easier to print. What's different about this is that it's on white vinyl. How cool is that? The White Album on white vinyl. It's the purple Capital of Canada label. I have this only because it's colored vinyl, and why not? The next one I have is my favorite. This is the 2014 Mono Remaster. Like Sgt. Pepper, probably the definitive version of the album in my mind. Probably the best sounding in my mind, and I think it's generally regarded as such. Hard as hell to find, expensive now because they didn't make many of them. This is number 9,059,828, so a very high number. There's not necessarily logic to the numbering system. If you go check out the video over at Parlogram Auctions, and I'll leave a link in the description, Andrew's the Beatles expert. He did a video just on the numbering system for the White Album. So if you want to check that out, it's interesting. So my 2014 Mono Remaster, this is the version I play all the time. The next one I have is one that I really, really like, and I play this one a lot too. This is the 2018 Deluxe vinyl box set. This is 4 discs. It contains the 2-disc album. This is the Giles Martin new stereo remix. And most importantly, there's also the 2-disc Esher demos. The Esher demos, Esher was where George lived. It was his house. Essentially, it's the entire album in demo form. A couple tracks are a little different. A couple tracks would end up on Abbey Road, but really, it's kind of like the Beatles Unplugged. It's the demo versions. Beatles fans have long known that it existed. We got a couple snippets of it on the anthology, but it's nice to have the Esher demos in their complete form. So for that reason alone, this was worth it. The next one I have is not vinyl. It is the Super Deluxe 2018 box set. This is an incredibly low number. As you can see there, this is number 283. This is a huge book, and there are 6 CDs in here. So again, this is the 2018 Giles Martin stereo remix, the Esher demos, and then let's see, 2 discs, 3 discs of sessions, and then there's a Blu-ray. So I got this because I wanted the book. It's basically a book with CDs in it. The book did not come in the vinyl box set, and the fact that you got 3 discs of outtakes and sessions and demos and that was worth it. As I mentioned, if it's got extra stuff, I'm interested in picking it up. I'm showing a lot of CDs in this video, which is funny because I'm not really a CD guy. The next one that I've got here was the what year was this? This is the 30th anniversary edition on CD, so this would have been 1998. Came in a little plastic sleeve, which has yellowed a little bit over time, but it's a reproduction of the album in terms of, you know, packaging. It comes with, you know, like mini album sleeves and a mini version of the poster and a mini version of the photographs and all that. And these are numbered as well. This is number 68,064. I remember I was in university when this came out. Cool, this is a fairly innovative package design. I don't think there's anything special about this mix per se, but I just thought it was a nice commemorative anniversary edition. Then the next one I have, this is the 2014 stereo remaster that came out of the box set. I don't have that on vinyl, so I have it on CD. And then the last one, this is the same as the vinyl box set. This is the 2018 50th anniversary Giles Martin remix with the Esher demos. I originally picked this up because when the album came out, I didn't really have $150 to drop on the box set. So I figured the CD would tide me over until such time as I could. And it did. So that's the White Album. I've got 10 copies of that, I think. 9 copies. All a little bit different. I've got a reason for owning all of them. You might argue it's a little sort of obsessive compulsive, but I'm a record collector. What are you going to do? Okay, another album that I've got several versions of, though not as excessive as the last two. Fleetwood Mac's Rumours. One of my favorite albums of all time. This is an original 1977 pressing of the album. Nothing special about that. Then the next one I have kind of looks the same. It's not. This is the 2009 45 RPM 2LP Palace pressing of the album. Consider the audiophile version of the album. And I've said many times, I'm not an audiophile. And I'm not. So many people raved about how good this was. I love the album so much. When I was able to buy a copy, I did. And it does sound incredible. It does sound better than the original. I think this is my version of choice to listen to. Next up is Alternate Rumours. This is a Record Store Day release from, I think it's 2013. I could be wrong on that. This was part of a series of Record Store Day releases Fleetwood Mac did. It's the album, but it's different versions of the songs than what are on there. So it's all alternates, or there's an acoustic duet, there's an early take, there's demos. The version of The Chain that's on this is almost unrecognizable from the version we all know and love. So again, this falls under that category of something new. These are, most of the tracks came off of an earlier box set, but it's the first time you got them on vinyl. So this I looked for a long time and was able to finally get one. A little on the pricey side, but the best of the alternate Fleetwood Mac releases for sure. And then a couple CD releases. I do have just the basic version of the album on CD somewhere. I can't find it. It's not here on my CD shelf. Could be, my wife might have it upstairs. But then I have 2 different CD versions. So I have this one here, which was the 2004 version. I don't know if this was some kind of anniversary or whatever, but one disc is the album, and the second disc is bonus material, roughs and outtakes and early demos and a couple of jam sessions. So again, new stuff. So that's why I have this. Then I have this, which is I think this was the anniversary edition from 2013. So this is 3 discs, 1 disc of the album, 1 disc of demos and outtakes and stuff, almost identical to the previous CD I showed you. There's a few tracks that are different. And then there's a live disc from the 1977 Rumours World Tour. So new stuff. And one of, the new disc is live. I've mentioned before, I'm a sucker for live recordings. So this was absolutely essential for me. I have 6 versions of Rumours. One of them I didn't show you because you can't find it, but I have 6 versions of Rumours. I hope you thought that was interesting. Let me know in the comments if there's something that you've got multiple versions of and why. I'd be interested to hear. I'll leave the link to Mega Jeff's Rock Hard Vinyl, where I got the idea from. Go check out his video. That's everything for me today, everybody. Catch you on the flip side. Bye.